Hello everyone and welcome to the Anime Zillia, and thank you for joining me as we go over chapters 20 to 23 of the Quintessential Quintuplets manga series. A really interesting few chapters that build towards an arc where we have a school trip and there's a bonfire with the superstition attached to where you're destined to be with the one that you dance with when it's first lit up. Now, I really like this idea because it could be us heading towards the direction of some inner turmoil from the quintuplets themselves. That's right, more specifically Miku and Ichika. Now, thanks to Miku's poor quick thinking while pretending to be Ichika, she's backed herself into a corner to where Ichika now has to dance with uesugi to kind of keep up this charade, because there was a person who asked Ichika out, but of course Miku, being Ichika, said, "I'm already dancing with uesugi." Honestly, this saddens me a little bit, because not only do I love Miku's character, I really like the dynamic between both sisters from these chapters. Ichika clearly understands how Miku feels towards uesugi better than Miku does herself. And that's why she's been helping Miku along, giving her some hints and kind of swaying her in the right direction. The last panel, with them kind of confirming the situation with it being okay from Miku's end and from Ichika's end, Miku's smile is rather bright, yet the expression on her entire face tells a deeper story. When Ichika is nervously smiling, worried about the after effects that this could cause, because she knows how deeply Miku feels, even if Miku herself doesn't 100% get the idea. However, seeing this learning process for Miku's character in her trying to understand the reason as to why people date each other was really good for building her character up in studying her kind of mental kind of growth and perception. Now, when we think about Miku and who she can realistically ask for advice or consult things about when it comes to the boys type of thing in romance, she only really has two sisters she can talk to about this, and those are Ichika and Nino. But I can't really see Miku ever having an interest to ask about this type of subject to any of her sisters in the past, so this is all completely new territory for her. So I like this kind of situation we're having and this development stage for her. I think it's building her character up a lot better than some of the sisters we've had already. That's just my personal opinion from observation, but Miku is certainly one of the characters that they're really building and getting behind in these early stages of the series. The whole sister swapping gimmick is also another really fun addition, because I know we've seen it constantly, but Miku becoming Ichika I thought was great, and yeah, it kind of moved the plot forward, so it was nice, wholesome and sweet. Plus we had that really fun aspect and avenue to where Miku was forcing herself to hold Itsuki's hand. That was just sweet and yeah, incredible. Moving away now, let's talk about Yusuke's character, because it was rather strange seeing him smile, yet this shows development. I know we've always seen him with the look of seriousness and worry on his face, but generally he looked excited for this school trip and his words were contradicting his actions. Looking pleased, happy and relieved when all the girls appeared to take him to the school trip after he missed the bus due to good reasons actually. But in all fairness, choosing to stay home and looking after your younger sister who is suddenly bedridden despite being excited and wanting to go on your field trip, this is totally justified. Yusuke doing this is perfectly fine in my opinion, because I personally would do the same for my family. Family for me comes first, and ultimately I can see the sisters doing the exact same thing, and although they seem angry at Yusuke for doing this at first, I think it's more so the fact they didn't know the situation. Yusuke never told them, and that's what they're angry at. Not the fact that he's not showing because of this reason, but the reason is he didn't say that he's not going to be there because Rina is ill. But Rina is the best sister, basically faking her recovery to make sure her brother goes on this school trip that he so wishes to go on. Brilliant, top marks for this character. She always brings and adds a feeling of liveliness and fun to the series, and that's what I love about this character. Plus the design's pretty cute too, but honestly, Glad she did it, because now we can have that development stage. We can have Uesugi in an unfamiliar environment as to what we've seen him in before. So all in all, interesting development stages for his character, and I'm glad he's keeping his job. While they all failed, right? So why is he keeping that job? Well, it's all thanks to Nino's character, and her character has gained a lot of respect from me while I read these chapters. Her actions, lying about, or bending the truth I should say, telling good old daddy that they all passed every subject, but in reality they all passed one subject each, making it so that they did pass as a group. Again, going back to the idea of all girls sharing things equally. This was raised up at the end of the fireworks festival. If one fails, they all fail. If one passes, they all pass. So I like the fact that this theme is staying consistent throughout the story so far. Now I mentioned that it was weird for all 5 girls and Uesugi to not remember any details about each other from that 5-year ago trip and that photo. But out of all of the people, Nino is the one who mentioned that the blonde guy looks familiar. Just imagine if Nino was in that room when Uesugi stood up to that guy who confessed to Ichika / Miku. Sparks would be flying everywhere, and maybe something in Nino's heart would flutter. Although it would probably have been Nino who interfered first, thanks to her overprotectiveness of her sisters, but at the same time I really did like this because, yeah, it shows that they're going with that plot thread and they're moving that along slowly, but giving us hints to what could come in the future. Exciting. Now then, I loved Uesugi's pouting face when she refused to hand over her test results. This was super duper cute. But more interestingly with her character, we hear that she has now accepted the fact that she needs help in studying. I like this because it opens up her character, making her more, not vulnerable so to speak, but she understands what she needs to do to improve and to grow, and this is only a good thing from looking at the character's perspective, because it means they have the potential to develop further. This I loved. So now we're in a situation where Uesugi wants to test Uesugi to see if he's worthy and up to the challenge of being her tutor. Now this excites me for the relationship building aspect of these two characters and the dynamic between them, because the last piece of build up and connection building we had from these two characters was just before that midterms test, and they handled that extremely well in my opinion. I also love the fact that she picked him up from his house. Even if it was for selfish reasons, it still shows respect and slight hints of friendshipness between the two being formed from previous events. So this was really fun. Now in case you're wondering, I really couldn't read the text on chapters 21, but the whole vibe and feeling I got from this chapter was really freaky, and the series in general just felt like it was on high on something really strange. The talks of harems and food poisoning going around is the general gist of what I could work out was happening in this chapter, so maybe Uesugi was eating something that made him hallucinate or imagine things that weren't actually happening. That's my thoughts on that, but anyway, with the story and the character interacting together and building up towards this new arc, plans being laid out and crazy twists and turns bound to happen, what are we going to see on this school trip? Well, make sure you join me as we chat more about this series another time, because that's all we've got to say about these chapters in this review. So hopefully you've enjoyed this review. If you have, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new for more from myself, and let me know your thoughts on these chapters and of course on the points that I've raised in this video. Like always, have a great day and I'll speak to you next time. Arigato, matane, goodbye.